Hello and welcome to a tutorial in iMovie that is specific to educators who want to make online video lessons. This lesson will also be helpful to staff members who want to release a video message to students, as it will demonstrate how to edit footage to cut out mistakes and dead space, all in under 20 minutes. Our objective today will be for educators to be able to edit their own videos in iMovie by making cuts, cropping, adding graphics, and then exporting the video to be shared. To do this, I've already recorded a short segment that we were going to edit together. That video was shot using just an iPad with a teleprompter application, and you can download that raw video from the link in this lesson's description. Although I'm using iMovie, any low-cost video editing software should be able to complete the same tasks, and the concepts will still be the same. If you have access to a second device like an iPad or iPhone, I highly recommend following along by watching this video on that device and performing the same actions on my raw video in iMovie. And if you find that this information is helpful to you, please share it with your colleagues and consider subscribing to my channel so that you can keep up to date with all of my tutorials.
Alright, we're going to get started. First thing you're going to do is make sure you've opened up iMovie. I already have here. It might be down your menu bar. Of course, if you need to install it, that will be a first step. Next, when we've opened iMovie, we're going to go to Open Library if we've never done this before and create a new library. If you have an external hard drive, this would be a good place to put it. For this purpose, I'm just going to call it iMovie Library 2. And the reason is iMovie, whenever you edit video, takes up substantial amounts of space. So if you're working on a laptop, especially with only a small hard drive, it'd be a good idea to have an external hard drive where you can store and work on your files. So I'm going to create new. I'm going to go to Movie. Go to this iMovie Library 2 that I just made, or whatever you've called it. And then we are now ready to import media. I've already created a video that we're going to edit today, and I've put a link to that video so you can see it in its raw, unedited form right in the description for this video. Download it, check it out. It's about 2 minutes long in its unedited format, but know that that's what we're going to be working on. So I'm just going to go import the video here. That lets me put it into what's called the timeline. You can see it's just over 2 minutes long, and it's a really short clip once it's done being edited. So if you haven't had the chance, download this file, listen to it in its unaltered form. I'm not going to do that here just because you can do that on your own and really catch with the nuances, things that need to be corrected, and I'm just going to get right into correcting it. First thing, if you don't know a whole lot about video editing, which I assume you don't, great place to start is this button right here, which is going to automatically improve the video and audio quality. It's not always going to make it better, but at least it gives you a choice from if you prefer it like this or prefer it like that. Visually, to me, it looks a bit better. Also, it did an automatic change to the sound. You can hear the difference here.
He was born February 11th, 1847, and he died on October 18th,
as opposed to this.
1931. I like the start of that.
So we'll keep it that way. When we're working on this, these are decisions that we want to make and commit to early on. Before I do any of my edits, I want to decide whether I'm auto adjusting the audio or not, whether I'm changing the picture quality or not, because if I do that after I've started cutting segments, they're not going to match. So we can see right in the beginning, it takes me a little while to get started, and you can see that because the audio is really low. In fact, I think the beginning is right here.
Thomas Alva Edison was born February 11th.
And let's check over here.
Thomas Alva Edison, who was...
So I messed up in the beginning. So this is all stuff that we can just get rid of. I'm going to click it and drag it till it's gone.
Thomas Alva Edison, who was born...
There's another way to do this as well. I just hit Command Z in order to undo, which is the same as going to undo here. And we can see that everything is back. And
Thomas Alva...
It took me 42 seconds to actually get into it and do it right. So another way to do this is to hit the Command button and hit B, which stands for blade. And that's going to cut this segment right here, so I can just delete it right there. So whether you end up just sliding everything over so that you can get to the same point where that is right here, just go like this until those two match, or again, excuse me as I undo the trim, I can do effectively the same thing, click it, make sure that that's the beginning,
Thomas Alva
which it is. Maybe give me just a little bit more just in case, and then hit the Command B, and then I can work on it right from there. So let's listen a little bit.
Thomas Alva Edison, who was born February 11th, 1847, and died October 18th, 1931, was an American inventor and businessman who has been described as America's greatest inventor. He developed many devices in fields such as electric power generation, mass communication, motion picture, and sound recording.
Not keeping up with me. So right here I had an issue with the teleprompter not keeping up. So that's all dead air. We're going to get rid of that by blading right there, which is that Command B. I can see, based on the audio, that it ends right there. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit. There's two ways to zoom in. I can go like this. I can also zoom in by hitting the Command plus button, which will zoom in, and similarly Command minus is going to zoom out. So I want to make that a really precise cut. Put this right here, and B. Now I have this dead space, get rid of it, and this is how it goes from one to the next.
Sound recording. These inventions, which include the phonograph, the motion picture camera, and the long-lasting practical electric light bulb, have had a widespread impact on the modern industrialized world.
So I probably could have done that better, which is why I think I come back and do it again.
These inventions...
So more dead air. So we're just going to go Command B, delete, and...
Sound recording. These inventions, which include the phonograph, the
much better. So now we have this jump, right?
Recording. These inventions...
There's a couple things we could do about this jump. We could click the 2 in transition, which is Command T, and we can go and do this really short, let's say over the course of 0.1 seconds, and apply it and see what this does to it.
These inventions, which include the...
A little ghostly, but it makes it a little bit smoother to have that transition. Watch again.
These inventions...
And this is without it.
Picture and sound recording. These inventions, which...
So which is better is all a matter of personal preference. One thing that I like to do in this instance to make it smoother is crop. So I have this section of video, which I've already edited, and this section that I'm now going to edit where this splice happens, or the cut really. So I'm going to choose right here, cropping. I'm going to go to crop to fill, and I'm going to bring it in just a little bit. And just click and drag, and then hit this check mark. So now watch this.
Picture and sound recording. These inventions, which include the phonograph...
And you've probably seen videos that do this. It seems like I'm emphasizing the point rather than hiding me jumping around. All right, let's listen from here.
Picture camera and the long-lasting practical electric light bulb have had a widespread impact on the modern industrialized world. He was one of the first inventors to apply the principles of organized science and teamwork to the process of invention, working with many researchers and employees. He established the first industrial research laboratory.
So I totally biffed that last line, which I'm pretty sure I do it over again here.
He also established the first industrial research laboratory.
So I know I want to keep this. Do the same thing. Command B. Right over here is where I messed up that line.
Established the first industrial...
Click it. Delete it.
Employees. He also established the first industrial research laboratory.
So you can see the jump isn't as bad. That might be one that I'd keep.
And employees. He also established the first industrial research laboratory.
It's definitely one that if I do the transition, click them and then hit Command T and make it really short, like 0.1 seconds. See how this looks.
Employees. He also established the first industrial research laboratory.
That'll work too. Barely noticeable. So we have now a cohesive section. We've gone from being 2 minutes long to just about 50 seconds, and actually we can get rid of some dead air right there. Me scratching my head because no one needs to see that.
Research laboratory.
And This transition just kind of happened. It was sort of a happy accident when I selected it. Sometimes it'll put it on both the beginning and the end. So let's put one on the beginning here so I kind of fade in like this.
Thomas Alva Edison, who was born February...
And if you find that you need less or more time, you can adjust that here. Like this is going to be too little time.
Alva Edison.
You can hear that the fade in of both the video and the audio cuts, so I can just stretch it.
Thomas Alva...
That's probably too much.
Thomas Alva Edison.
And that's about on the money. Now, it'd be pretty boring to just watch me the whole time, so let's liven it up a little bit. Let's listen just a little bit to how it introduces.
Thomas Alva Edison, who was born February 11th, 1847, and died October 18th, 1931, was an American inventor and businessman who has been described as America's greatest inventor.
All right, so let's find a graphic. If I go to Chrome, and I was already pirating some graphics. This is just the Wikipedia entry that I literally just read to you. But if you go and click this, I can go and save the image. It's already named Thomas Edison, but that way I can find it quickly. I have it in a pictures folder that I'm using to keep everything organized. Save that. Now, when I go back into iMovie, I can go and find that picture. There he is. Let's try putting it right here and see what it does automatically.
Was an American inventor and businessman who has been described as America's greatest.
So we're not going to keep the crotch shot. Sometimes it does a mode which is pretty cool with moving, and it's just automatic. It doesn't really know what it's doing, but we can fix this. So what I've done is I put this over the timeline, and I'm going to choose cropping right here. And the Ken Burns mode is pretty cool. You can go and have your start point and your end point. So let's do the whole kind of slow zoom in thing and see what that looks like. Now I'll go back from here.
Was an American inventor and businessman who has been described as America's greatest inventor.
So that definitely livens it up a little bit.
He developed many devices in fields such as electric power generation, mass communication, motion picture, and sound recording. These inventions, which include the phonograph...
I thought I'd gotten rid of that, so I'm going to... Sometimes this happens. When I added the transition before, it added one at the end too. I'm just going to delete that one.
These inventions, which include the phonograph...
Another step I can take to liven things up a little bit is to add some more graphics as I describe each of the inventions. So check this.
These inventions, which include the phonograph, the motion picture camera, and the long-lasting practical electric light bulb, have had a widespread impact on the modern industrial...
So I can see where the waveforms kind of begin, where I talk about phonograph here, which one?
The motion picture camera.
The motion picture camera, motion picture camera, and then finally...
And the long-lasting practical electric light bulb.
So I can add those here. And the default I'm probably not going to like. I think it's going to do that Ken Burns thing, and it's going to be too rapid. But I can see that I could talk about phonograph here.
The phonograph.
Yeah, way too fast. So we're going to turn off that Ken Burns. Just go to fit.
The phonograph.
That's pretty good. I can give it a little bit more so it's not so rapid.
Include the phonograph.
There I can put in the motion picture camera. It's actually it's a pretty good one.
The motion picture camera. And
sometimes the defaults work out, so we have this.
The phonograph, the motion picture camera, and the long-lasting...
I'll go a little bit longer right there. And then the long-lasting light bulb. Put that in right there.
The motion picture camera, and the long-lasting practical electric light bulb have...
That looks terrible. So we're going to go to fit here, and there's an interesting thing that's happening.
Practical electric light bulb.
There we go.
Long-lasting practical electric light bulb have had a widespread impact on the modern industrialized world. He was one of the first inventors to apply the principles of organized science and teamwork.
So I have a kind of picture of Menlo Park that I can put in here.
principles of organized science and teamwork to the process of invention, working with many researchers and employees.
Cut that just a little bit, and then I have one of a bunch of scientists of the era working right here. Let's see what that looks like.
Organized science and teamwork to the process of invention, working with many researchers and employees. He also established the first industrial research laboratory.
So this would probably be better here since we have that industrial research library.
He also established the first industrial research laboratory.
And I can go all the way to the end. You can see that this cut doesn't matter anymore.
Organized science and teamwork to the process of invention, working with many researchers and employees. He also established the first industrial research laboratory.
So you can see sometimes we get kind of lucky in terms of how the Ken Burns mode, the default, works. I just extended this so you don't have me just leaving the scene. Okay, now as a final step, we're going to export our video. To do that, we're going to go back to projects. We can this is a good time to give it a name. I'm just going to call it Edison. Say OK. And we're going to click these three dots right here where we can go to Share Project. We're going to choose File. And then we have a few choices to make. Assuming that we're going to put this on YouTube, because that's a platform most people can see quite easily, we're going to make sure that the format is video and audio, the highest resolution that we can have, and then make sure that it's on at least high quality, if not best, as long as you don't mind using that much storage. But if you are worried about how much storage you're using, being on high quality should be fine enough. And it's always better to compress it at better quality rather than faster. It doesn't matter if it takes a little bit longer to do so. You can give it a different title if you wanted to call it, I don't know, Edison Demo or something else. That's totally up to you. Now, if you need to share this file, say across Google Drive or some other platform, you could lower the resolution. And if a student is watching it over a cell phone, it'll be much smaller and easier for them to download. But that's totally up to you. Otherwise, I would go with the highest quality and let YouTube do its work on the export. You're just going to click Next. It's going to ask you where to save it. You just hit Save. And up here, it will indicate how long it's going to take, what it's doing. You can get that little pie graph and how long it's going to take. And then at the end, it's going to show you that it's exported. Through the magic of video editing, let's fast forward to the export. And it's all done. If I forgot where I saved it, I can hit this Show button, and there it is. You can check that out.
Thomas Alva Edison, who was born February 11th, 1847.
Sound quality and video quality looks good. Normally I would preview this to make sure that it's perfect before sending it out, but that's really our final step.
So today we covered how to import a video into iMovie, edit out dead space and mistakes, how to crop, add graphics to our footage, and then export a finished product that is ready to be uploaded to YouTube or another online platform. My best advice for getting started with this is to practice editing footage, and you are more than welcome to use my video to get started. I know that this appears time-consuming in talking you through the steps, but with a little practice, you will be able to quickly and succinctly edit your own footage. I hope this video helped you, and if it did, I would really appreciate it if you could share it with your colleagues. I would also love it if you would subscribe to my channel so that I can keep track of how large an audience I have with my tutorial videos, and so that you can be updated when I release new ones. And if you have any suggestions on tutorials you would like to see for online video creation, please feel free to tell me what those suggestions are in the comments section. Thank you and take care.